And by Thaw. Thaw walks in, and Plu launches one deep. Underneath it is Brock. Brock catches it, being pursued by Mogilski, and he sends an easy one across the field. Hard work from Marmerstein, who was open on that strike cut, but by then it had been abandoned. Fedorenko swings. Mark looked like he was going to throw a big one, but instead he sends it back to Isaac Saul, floats one out into space for Marmerstein, and he keeps it going to Patrick Earls, who goes up and gets it. And of course, that left hand, always dangerous. That's underneath it by the Eric sign in the back, and he reels. Aims to Carey. Carey sends one to Carpenter, always dangerous, and he is immediately double-teamed by Buss and Hammonds. But he shuffles that disc back to Carey, and Carpenter and Carey play catches. Trucks tries to catch up to Carey. Can't, though, and it's in his hands again in the power position. Sohn catches the disc and sends it out into space to Mogilski. Mogilski's got Brock, but there's no chance to catch up to him. Catch up with this one, but he does, and he pops one up that Aaron Watson is underneath and has no chance, because going up way high was number 51, Nate Page, who demonstrates the conservation of greatness principle by turfing the very next throw. Saul picks it up, immediately shoots it out the stats to Brock, and he launches one immediately to Plu, and he could have done that with his eyes closed. You know that those guys know where they're going to be. Morgenstern drops off trying to find Carey, and he commits, but being marked by Dulabon, and a disc goes up. Underneath it is Hortemiller. Mogilski makes a bid. Thaw close behind. Double team, a little hooking forehand. Marmerstein looks to pass out of it, and he does. He finds Beards. And inside out over to Brock. Brock looks like maybe Dulabon got a piece of it. Dulabon sets off after him, but this throw is going to go up deep to Carey. Jonathan Mass giving chase. And deep, working downfield, and you know Earls can't resist this one. He throws up a big bending forehand to Aaron Watson. Forehand to Dulabon, working on a very narrow field over there, and whoa! A big bid over there. Aaron Buss takes it away from a diving Page on the way in. John D'Amicis tries to settle the mark in, but he doesn't have time. Instead, it goes up to Plu, who is chased by Morgenstern, but no chance. It's on him, and a big hammer into space finds Plu. Plu about 20 yards outside of the end zone, and now Brock with the disc on the sideline. Dulabon sagging. You hear the count. You hear the dueling counts, and Plu hearing the clue finds Carpenter. In on the mark. Marmerstein unmarked behind him, and instead he just throws this blade up into space to Vats. Probably not. Shield washer fashion across the front of the stack, being guarded by Buss. He finds Cox in the power position, and Carpenter does not slow up. Finds Plu on the far sideline. Carpenter doing a lot of work, getting almost every other pass. Snaps off a forehand into space, and Hortemiller pulls it in for a goal. Earls playing catch with D'Amicis, and then he throws a blade, which is snuffed out. It was an opportunity for a turnover there, but Granholm couldn't quite get his hands on it before Marmerstein did, as the Thunderbirds a little awkward as the AlleyCats transition out of their zone into man. Saul whips off a laser of a throw to Marmerstein, who's standing just over the goal line. Here goes Carey and Brock off to the races on the sideline, and of course it's Brock to Plu. Patrick Earls running downfield with vision and room, and Beardsley, and a big O-team playing defense, and Wes Groth manages to sneak behind Marmerstein. Marmerstein stumbled a little bit, but thinks the better of it, and this time instead it's Brent. And rather than switching fields, he just finds Dana. There's a double team. Peters and Kazmarek set it up, but it's easily passed out to Ames. And a block. Dulabon. So far, nice flat throws, and a big block by Cameron. Too late. Disc is in the air and in the hands of Keenan Plu. Plu sees Brock. Brock zigs, zags, and there's a moment of anxiety. Watson shuffles it back to Saul, and Saul's got an opportunity to send it out to Buss. Hutton's got the disc. Kasperzicki across the field, and it's a swing that just goes awry. Saul picks it up, brings it back, unnecessarily ground checks it, and that might have cost him the goal. And a strip is called. Settles in on the mark on Ames. Ames jacks one, and Thaw has an opportunity if he can find it, but he cannot. It just goes over his head to Plu. A big forehand, and then Brock cuts to the break and scores. But he finds Earls on an in cut to the break, and Earls throws up a big backhand. He's well marked. It's against the break. Laskar and Watson contesting it, and a big hop to Aaron Watson. Earls finds Watson. A big bid on that backwards pass, and Earls with a shot to David Vats in the end zone. But Hortemiller all by himself out here. Plenty of room. And from Carey. And Mast again has an opportunity to Brock. He's got Ames working downfield. Plew gets behind Morgenstern. And Brock to Plew. How many times have we seen that today? Player, and that's 10 yards. An interesting defensive position by Ringwood, who's basically daring Earls to go downfield and then the Thunderbirds and get into the heads of the officials. But the thing that we've seen about Indianapolis over the years with the disc on the goal line and Fedorenko's hands against the double team and then a little high release over the top. Maybe a bust looking to help a little bit. Cox gets one on the sideline. Easy forehand bender. Carlton now it's joined quickly for a double team from Granholm, but it is, wow. The double team was broken very quickly, and then a little high release into the end zone for Vats, who didn't catch up with it, and then a quick huck right off the bat to Laskar, who's got the disc about 25 yards outside of the end zone, sends it to Hutton, right close to our sideline. Patrick Earls marking him. Laskar's got the disc on the doorstep, sends it out into space. A big bit from Diamikas, but Granholm with the goal. Throws that dump back to Saul. Saul snaps it across the field, and a huge bid, and it deserves a call. With the disc, he is double teamed and fouled as he throws it backwards, and Brian Heim with the call. And it looked Blue cutting against Morgenstern, sends it back. Now Cox has it, sends it out into space to Brock, and Brock pulls it down. And Saul throws a bender into space. It holds up, but then gets forced down, and Aaron Watson goes and gets it with both hands and looks uncomfortable. Here's Watson, has Earls coming back to him, gets it on the sideline and manages to barely secure it, and then sends one out into space for Fedorenko. Will he catch up with it before the back of the end zone? And it's a goal. Tough assignment for anybody. And here it goes up, and we'll get a chance to see, can Morgenstern close this gap? He can't. A beautiful shot. Right up the line. Who's got it? It's Ringwood. Ringwood sends it into space, and it is caught. And the AlleyCats find themselves with the lead. And now a breakout cut from Carpenter, and it's a backhand that's floating towards the sideline. Looks like there could be a battle between Diesel and Carpenter pulls it down, and side out. Fedorenko fakes a huck and then throws a blade across the field to Marmerstein, who makes a big saving bid, catches it with his right hand, thinks the better of pulling it, sending it to Earls, and instead sends it back to Saul. Saul shuffles it back up to him. Fedorenko running from that retro, and he finds Stats in the end zone for his fourth. Sends it out to Ames. Kazmarek's got the mark on Ames. Ames looking, and he sends a low line drive into space to Plew. It bumps up for a second, and Plew again. Field is switched. Beardsley out into space, and he is being marked up by Hortemiller, and he goes up. Cannot quite. I'm sorry, that was Nate Page. And then Ethan Beardsley arrives. This one is an error of him. He chooses Earls, who throws that lefty sharp bender out to Dulabon in the end zone, and immediately the Thunderbirds answer with a score. Cox being marked by Brennenberg. Carey goes to fill the space on the forehand sideline, being marked closely by Mast. He snaps off a hammer into space, and it settles gently into the hands of Captain Cameron Brock. Now puts the mark back on. Cox sends one up to Plew, who beats Magilski into it, and Plew airs one out. Hammonds to Hortemiller. Oh, man. Carlton put it on Marmerstein, a small thrower, and he snaps one off into the end zone to Thaw. And Thaw, defended by Granholm. There's contact, but after Thaw drops the disc, and it looks like Granholm's going to need a substitute. He's on the ground. And then, oh boy, Jacobs is running deep. Beardsley trying to catch up with, and a laser sent out to him. Can he catch up to it? He can, and he does. A stab from Jacobs, who had gotten behind Beardsley, and then sends one across the field to Cox for a score. And that one was a dagger. That point probably approaching a minute now, and they don't have a lot of minutes to spare. So Saul throws another one up, likes his target in the form of Fedorenko, who goes up high and then sends it to Dulabon, but now against Van Dusen, snaps off a forehand. Brock pulls it in, and sure enough, he sends it up. Demikas and Page in the end zone. Demikas jumps early. Page waits for him to come down. Page pulls it down, and with 2:15. Ames puts the disc in play. Kazmarek against him. Brock's got the disc, and of course he does not hesitate to jack it to Cox. Morgenstern closing, but he cannot close the distance. Thunderbirds are going to have to give this one away. Nothing left. The game is over. And the Indianapolis AlleyCats come to to Founders Field in a situation where they really had to win to stay in the playoff hunt, and they may have climbed into the driver's.
This is Naptown, nice boy, the Indy way win. That's what that is.